smoke detector had been beeping for 3 days. Not the urgent, consistent beep that signals a dying battery, but a sporadic chirp that seemed to have no pattern. It would go off once in the morning, twice in the afternoon, then silence for hours before chirping again at random intervals. I'm not the kind of person who ignores these things. I'm 74 years old, and I've lived alone in this house for 6 years since my husband Paul died. I maintain everything meticulously. The furnace is serviced annually. The gutters are cleaned every fall. The smoke detectors get new batteries twice a year, whether they need them or not. So when this one started acting up, I knew something was wrong. I called my son Derek on Wednesday morning. He's always been handy with electronics, always the first to upgrade to the newest phone or the latest smart home device. He said he'd stop by after work to take a look. "It's probably just a faulty unit, Mom," he said. "I'll bring a replacement. No big deal." He came by that evening with his wife Natasha. They'd been married for 4 years, and in that time I'd watched my relationship with my son slowly transform into something I barely recognized. He used to call 3 times a week. Now I was lucky to hear from him once a month. He used to stop by every Sunday for dinner. Now it was holidays only, and even then, they'd arrive late and leave early. Natasha was a real estate agent. She was beautiful in that polished, intimidating way. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect clothes that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She'd grown up wealthy, and she'd made it clear from the beginning that Derek's modest upbringing was something to be overcome, not embraced. "Hi, Margaret," she said as they entered, not bothering with the mom I'd asked her to use. "Your living room looks so dated. Have you thought about updating? I could give you the names of some affordable interior decorators." Affordable for her probably meant $5,000 minimum. "I like it the way it is," I said, as I always did. "It has memories." She made a sound that could have been agreement or dismissal. It was hard to tell with Natasha. Derek went straight to the smoke detector with a stepladder from the garage. He unscrewed it from the ceiling, examined it for a moment, then brought it down. "This isn't a smoke detector," he said, his voice strange. "What do you mean?" "I mean, this is a camera. A hidden camera disguised as a smoke detector." The room tilted slightly. "A camera? That's impossible. I bought that smoke detector myself 3 months ago. It came from the hardware store." Derek looked at Natasha. Something passed between them, something that made my stomach clench. "Mom," he said slowly, "did anyone have access to your house around that time? Anyone who could have switched out the real detector for this one?" I thought back 3 months. Natasha had been here. She'd offered to help me reorganize my closets, said she knew a great system for maximizing space. She'd been here for several hours while Derek was at work. I'd been in the kitchen making tea, giving her privacy to work. "Natasha was here," I said quietly. "She was helping with the closets." "That was months ago," Natasha said quickly, "and I never went near your smoke detector." But her face had changed. The casual superiority was gone, replaced by something harder, something defensive. Derek was examining the device more closely. "It's recording to a memory card, and it's still active." He looked up at me, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Suspicion. "Mom, do you want to see what's on it?" "No!" Natasha's voice was sharp. "Derek, this is ridiculous. We should just throw it away and get your mom a real smoke detector. This is probably some manufacturing defect." "It's not a defect," Derek said. "This is a purpose-built surveillance camera. Someone put this here deliberately." He pulled out his phone and connected a small cable to the device. "I can view the footage right now." "Derek, don't." Natasha reached for the phone, but he stepped away from her. "Why not?" "Because it's an invasion of your mother's privacy. Whatever is on there, she has a right to review it privately, not with us standing here." She was right, of course. But the way she said it made it sound wrong, made it sound like she was protecting something. "I want to see it," I said. "Derek, show me." He nodded and started scrolling through the footage. The camera had been positioned to capture most of the living room and part of the entrance to the kitchen. I watched compressed footage of myself moving through my daily routines, reading in my chair, watching television, talking on the phone. Days and days of mundane moments, all captured without my knowledge. Then Derek stopped scrolling. "Mom, you need to see this." He turned the phone toward me. The footage showed Natasha entering the house, but I wasn't home. I could tell by the lighting it was mid-morning on a weekday when I volunteered at the library. She had a key. Derek had given her a key to my house 2 years ago for emergencies. In the video, Natasha moved through the living room systematically. She opened drawers in the side table. She went through the mail on the entry table. She examined papers on my desk in the corner. She was searching for something, and she was doing it methodically, like someone who'd done this before. The video jumped forward. Same day, later, Natasha was photographing documents with her phone. I couldn't see what they were from this angle, but I recognized the blue folder, my financial records, bank statements, investment accounts, property deeds, everything I kept organized in my filing cabinet. When was this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Derek checked the timestamp. 6 weeks ago, Thursday morning. Thursday morning. I was at the library every Thursday morning. She knew that. She'd planned it. The video continued. Natasha went to my bedroom. I could see her disappear down the hallway and return minutes later with my jewelry box. She opened it, examined the contents, took photos of everything inside. My wedding ring from Paul, my grandmother's pearls, the diamond earrings Derek had given me for my 60th birthday. Then she made a phone call. We couldn't hear the audio, but we could see her lips moving, see her gesturing at the documents spread on the coffee table. Derek, I said carefully, why would your wife be photographing my financial documents and my jewelry? He didn't answer. He was staring at Natasha, and his face had gone very pale. It's not what it looks like, Natasha said, but her voice had lost its confidence. What does it look like? Derek asked. I was concerned about your mother's financial security. With her living alone, I wanted to make sure everything was in order. By breaking into her house and going through her private documents? I didn't break in. I have a key for emergencies, not for conducting surveillance. I was trying to help. Help with what? I asked. My voice was steadier now. Anger was replacing shock. Help yourself to information about my finances? Help yourself to knowledge about what I own so you can plan how to take it? That's not... She stopped herself. You're confused, Margaret. You're misinterpreting what you saw. Am I? Then explain the camera. Explain why you needed to hide a camera in my house. She was silent. Derek was scrolling through more footage now, more visits from Natasha, more searches. In one segment, she was on the phone again, and this time Derek managed to slow the footage enough to read her lips partially. She has at least $400,000 in investments, he said, reading her words, plus the house, which is worth maybe $600,000 in this market. No mortgage, no debt, it's all clean equity. My son's face had gone from pale to gray. You've been cataloging my mother's assets. Derek, let me explain. Explain what? Explain why you've been secretly evaluating how much my mother is worth. His voice was rising. Explain why you needed a hidden camera to do it. Because she's not competent. Natasha's voice finally cracked, and the truth came spilling out. She's 74 years old, living alone in a house too big for her, managing money she doesn't understand. She's one fall away from a nursing home, and when that happens, everything she has is going to get eaten up by medical bills and care facilities. I was trying to protect your inheritance, Derek. I was trying to protect our future. The words hung in the air like poison. My inheritance, Derek said slowly. Yes, you're an only child. Everything she has will eventually be yours, ours. But not if she mismanages it. Not if she gets taken advantage of by some financial advisor or donates it all to charity or decides to spend it on herself, I interjected. On her own life? Natasha turned to me, and the mask was completely gone now. You live like a pauper. You drive a 15-year-old car. You clip coupons. You shop at discount stores. Meanwhile, you're sitting on $1 million in assets. It's wasteful, Margaret. It's irresponsible. It's mine, I said simply. Not forever. Eventually, Derek will inherit it. We will inherit it. And I'm not going to watch you throw it away on whatever it is you people do with money when you don't understand its value. You people, I repeated. You mean people like me? People who grew up working class? People who saved every penny to build what they have? She didn't answer. Derek set the phone down carefully on the coffee table. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but there was steel in it I'd never heard before. Get out! Derek, get out of my mother's house. Now. You're being irrational. I did this for us. You put a surveillance camera in my mother's house. You invaded her privacy. You cataloged her assets like she's already dead, and you're just waiting to collect. Get out. Natasha grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Before she left, she turned back to me with a look of pure contempt. You're going to regret this, Margaret. Both of you. When Derek realizes what I was trying to protect, when he sees how you've turned him against me, he'll understand, and it'll be too late. The door slammed behind her. Derek and I sat in silence for a long moment. I could hear the clock ticking in the hallway, the refrigerator humming in the kitchen, all the small sounds of a house that suddenly felt violated. Mom, Derek said finally, I'm so sorry. I had no idea I didn't know. How long have you known about my finances? I asked. He looked away. She's been asking me questions for about a year. About what you own, what your accounts look like, whether you'd updated your will. I thought she was just interested in family planning, in making sure we were prepared in case something happened to you. I didn't realize she was cataloging my worth like I'm livestock. He flinched. I should have seen it. I should have questioned why she was so interested. Derek, look at me. I waited until he met my eyes. Did you know about the camera? No, I swear to you, Mom, I had no idea. If I'd known, I would have torn it down immediately. I believed him. I could see the genuine horror in his face, the betrayal he felt. But there was something else I needed to know. What did she mean when she said it would be too late? What was she planning? Derek was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone again and opened his email. He showed me a message from 3 weeks ago. It was from a law firm I didn't recognize. She'd been consulting with an attorney about guardianship proceedings, about having you declared mentally incompetent so we could take over your finances. The room seemed to darken around the edges. She was going to have me declared incompetent? She was building a case. The camera footage was supposed to show you declining, forgetting things, acting confused, being unable to manage your own affairs. She was going to use it as evidence. But I'm not declining. I'm perfectly fine. I know, but she was going to argue that you were in denial, that you couldn't see your own deterioration. She had it all planned out. He looked sick. Mom, if she'd gone through with this, she could have gotten a court order. She could have taken control of your money, your house, everything. And God help me, I might have believed her. I might have thought she was doing the right thing. I sat back in my chair, processing this information. My daughter-in-law had been planning to legally steal my autonomy, my assets, my entire life, and she'd been using my son to do it. What are you going to do? I asked. About what? About your marriage? About Natasha? Derek looked at the smoke detector camera on the table. I'm going to file for divorce. I can't be married to someone who would do this, who would violate my mother's privacy, who would plan to have her declared incompetent just to get access to money. He rubbed his face with both hands. I'm so sorry, Mom. I brought her into your life. I gave her access to you. This is my fault. It's not your fault, I said, though part of me wondered if I should have seen the signs earlier. The way Natasha had always been so interested in my plans for the future. The way she'd encouraged Derek to discuss updating my will. The way she'd volunteered to help me with tasks that gave her access to my home. The next morning, I contacted an attorney. Her name was Susan Reeves, and she specialized in elder law. I showed her the camera footage, the emails about guardianship proceedings, everything Derek had given me. Mrs. Patterson, she said after reviewing everything, what your daughter-in-law did is illegal on multiple levels. Installing a hidden camera is a violation of privacy laws. Attempting to gain guardianship under false pretenses is fraud. And if she'd succeeded, it would have constituted financial elder abuse. Can we stop her from trying again? We can do better than that. We can file charges and pursue a restraining order. With this evidence, she won't be able to come near you legally. We filed the charges the same day. Criminal invasion of privacy, attempted fraud, conspiracy to commit financial elder abuse. The police took the camera as evidence. They also subpoenaed Natasha's phone records and found the calls she'd made to the attorney, along with text messages to friends about managing Derek's inheritance situation. The case took 6 months to work through the system. During that time, Derek moved back home with me temporarily while he sorted out the divorce. It was strange having him back in his childhood bedroom, but it was also healing. We had dinner together every night. We talked about things we hadn't discussed in years. He apologized repeatedly for not seeing what Natasha was doing, for letting her manipulate him, for distancing himself from me. "She told me you were old-fashioned," he said one night over dinner, "that you wouldn't understand our lifestyle, our goals. She made me feel like staying close to you was holding us back." From what? From success, I guess, from the kind of life she thought we deserved. He shook his head, but she never wanted to build that life through work. She wanted to inherit it, or steal it. The trial was brief. Natasha's attorney tried to argue that she'd been genuinely concerned about my mental state, that the camera was for my protection. But the footage of her photographing my financial documents, the emails about guardianship, the text messages about Derek's inheritance, it all painted a clear picture of greed, not concern. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in prison for privacy violations and attempted fraud. She was also ordered to pay restitution for the cost of the legal proceedings and banned from having any contact with me for 10 years. Derek's divorce was finalized 2 months later. Natasha tried to claim she deserved half of his expected inheritance, but the judge dismissed that immediately. "You don't inherit from someone who's still alive," the judge said dryly, "and given your criminal conviction for attempting to defraud Mrs. Patterson, you're lucky I'm not ordering you to pay additional damages." A year after I found the camera, I was sitting in my living room, the same living room that had been under surveillance, drinking coffee and reading the newspaper. The smoke detector above me was new, installed by a security company I'd hired to sweep the entire house for any other hidden devices. They'd found none, but I'd replaced all the detectors anyway. Some violations take time to recover from. Derek stopped by that morning. He'd bought a small house across town and was slowly rebuilding his life. He brought fresh pastries from the bakery I liked and sat down at the kitchen table. "I wanted to talk to you about something," he said. My heart sank. That tone usually meant bad news. "What is it?" "I've been thinking about inheritance, about what Natasha said, about me being your only child and eventually inheriting your estate." "Derek, let me finish. I don't want it, Mom. I mean, I do eventually, when you're actually gone and have lived a full, long life. But I don't want you to think about your money as something you're just holding for me. It's yours. You earned it. You and Dad saved it together, and now it's yours to do with as you please." I set down my coffee cup. Where is this coming from? From realizing that Natasha's attitude, that feeling of entitlement to your money, it didn't come from nowhere. Somewhere along the way, I started thinking of your assets as future resources for us instead of current resources for you. And that was wrong. It was the beginning of everything that went bad. You never asked me for anything, Derek. But I thought about it that way. I calculated it in my head. I made plans based on what would eventually be mine. And that mindset, that's what Natasha exploited. He reached across the table and took my hand. "So, I'm saying this clearly. Your money is yours. Spend it all if you want, donate it, travel the world, buy a sports car, whatever makes you happy. I'm going to build my own life with my own work, and if there's something left when you're gone, I'll be grateful. But I'm not counting on it, and I'm not planning around it." I squeezed his hand, feeling tears prick my eyes. "Thank you for saying that. Thank you for not giving up on me when I was blind to what was happening." 6 months after that conversation, I did something I'd been thinking about for a while. I sold some of my investments and donated $100,000 to the local women's shelter. Another $50,000 went to the library where I'd volunteered for years. I used some money to finally take that trip to Italy Paul and I had always planned but never managed. And I spent $10,000 on a new car. Nothing fancy, just something reliable and new that didn't require constant maintenance. Derek helped me pick it out. When I drove it off the lot, he took a photo and texted it to me with the caption, "This is what living your own life looks like." He was right. I still live in my house. I still manage my own finances. I'm still perfectly competent at 75, thank you very much. But I'm also spending my money on myself now, without guilt, without thinking about what it means for some future inheritance. Because here's what I learned. The moment you start viewing your life as just a waiting period before someone else gets your resources, you stop actually living. You become a caretaker of assets instead of a person with dreams and desires and the right to enjoy what you've earned. The hidden camera was a violation, but in a strange way, it was also a gift. It showed me exactly how people saw me when they thought I wasn't looking, and it gave me the chance to rewrite that story.